This is going to blow your mind. Climate change.
A lot, if you fly over these areas that are burned, the idea there's no such thing as climate change. I love that, man. I love some of my Neanderthal friends who still think there's no climate change. Well, my administration is going to keep building on the progress we've made fighting climate crisis, and we're going to keep help folks rebuild themselves in the wake of these disasters. And we rebuild to the standards that are the up-to-date standards and building codes and the rest.
So Joe Biden continues to talk about these wildfires that are just popping up spontaneously all over the place, saying, whoa, what the hell did Joe Biden just say when it comes to these wildfires? Did Joe Biden just confirm the use of directed energy weapons to start the Texas wildfires? What is this all about? Okay, we've looked into this, okay, we've covered this, and while we remain skeptical, it's worth noting that what the hell is Joe Biden saying here? First off, have a listen.
A lot, if you fly over these areas that are burned to the ground, you'll see in the midst of 20 homes that are just totally destroyed, one home sitting there because it had the right roof on it. One home sitting there because it had the right roof on it. And anyway, since I took office, FEMA's provided Texas alone.
People noticed in the Maui fires that blue objects and blue items didn't get burned, right? And then, this TikTok sort of went viral where you can see that the blue color doesn't react with the beams of the laser, right? The beams of the laser at a specific wavelength. All color is wavelength, and the blue wavelength the blue wavelength absorbs instead of reacts. So from a scientific perspective, that's what TikToks like this are talking about. And then they are going through and noting that like houses that were blue, and cars that were blue, and bins and umbrellas that were blue didn't get burned.
Yeah, this is actually beam shooting out right here. Watch this right there. See that line?
I can't see that line.
It has to be. Okay, but it's I'm not able to show what the true thing is here now because this is like the least screen that you can see.
What Stacey is trying to say is they catch on every time she gets on and begins the video. They catch on, they block it back out, and then she'll just keep snooping until she runs back into the radar again. There are screens that show beams being shot into hurricanes and the hurricanes turning away from where the beam went out. No, I'm serious. Keep watching.
Anymore. But you can still see these are just residuals. Now I'm going to show you the auto beam.
Okay, so Maui is... Okay, I see Maui. So the center is Malachi, you said.
Over here.
Yeah, that's Malachi. Molokai.
And if you look, I'll show you the other ones too, because there's one over here.
My heart rate is pounding.
Here is this one. This is the attractor, and usually they turn this on. And then usually there's one right here on the outside, not over land. They're not supposed to be over the land because that affects us. Okay, and then there's another one down here.
I wonder if this affects the bird population or migrating animals.
Photo was clear enough to see that it's definitely a Seahawk, and it does have the Raytheon multispectral electro-optical targeting system. It's basically an electronic eye mounted on the nose that can see in multiple spectrums at once, such as normal vision and infrared or heat vision. It also electronically assists the targeting mechanism to aim its weapons more accurately than humans can. Seahawk detachments typically perform anti-submarine and anti-mine operations, which often utilize a laser module about the same size and shape as this extra fuel tank and in the same position. So it's especially easy to confuse at first, especially when the numbers have been covered or removed as they were over Maui. Then I found a Pentagon press briefing from Air Force Brigadier General Pat Ryder, where he reported that the Navy's Maritime Helicopter Strike Squadron 37 sent 2 Seahawk helicopters to assist the Coast Guard with search and rescue. Seahawks can perform search and rescue operations, but the only helicopters that rescued anyone were a Navy Chinook that rescued 14 people and a Coast Guard Dolphin that rescued 17. On seaforces.org, the HSM-37 Squadron are called the Easy Riders, and you can see their insignia, along with pictures of each of their choppers, including number 41 seen here, which is the exact same chopper seen over Maui. And I'll show you how I know. One of the first things to look at is the insignia, which has a man riding on a dolphin. You can sort of see that in your photo, even though it's kind of washed out by the glare. Anyway, the crew of this particular Seahawk posted about their mission on Facebook, where they claim to have searched the coastline for survivors who escaped the wildfires in Lahaina and helped to coordinate firefighting efforts by identifying hotspots from the air. Now, based on the apparent configuration of the chopper, this is what they appeared to be equipped to do. So why cover or remove the numbers? Besides the missing number on the chopper, another oddity is found in their Facebook posts from the days prior to the fire, where they packed up early before the end of Exercise Talisman Sabre, which claims to be not just an exercise, and shipped it back home to Pearl Harbor to rendezvous with the USS Wayne E. Meyer in anticipation of the response to Hurricane Dora as part of the Defense Support of Civil Authorities, which wasn't actually activated until sometime between 3:21 p.m. and 4:30 p.m. on August 8th, and because of a fire, not a hurricane. The Facebook photos seem very careful not to show the number. However, Easy Rider 41, according to its red exhaust covers, may already not have its ID number showing on the plane to Pearl Harbor, while number 31 clearly did in the previous Facebook post and reel. This is the exact same helicopter seen over Maui. USS Wayne E. Meyer, DDG-108, was one of the many ships that responded to the Hawaii Emergency Agency request for defense support of civil authorities from the Joint Task Force Civil Support on the afternoon of August 8th. However, other responding ships, which typically do not anticipate disaster relief, were seen by Tyler Turner the day before on August 7th, as interviewed by Eric West. These ships may include the USS America, LHA-6, along with its entire strike group, which includes the destroyers, submarines that corroborate with Tyler's accounts of submarines, warships, and carriers seen on the surface, as well as possibly the Ronald Reagan Carrier Strike Group, which were likely in range the day before the fire. The U.S. Naval Institute has a fleet and marine tracker map that updates about once a week with a couple-day lag, showing the positions of most of the U.S. Navy fleet and marine vessels. As you can see, both the America Amphibious Ready Group and the Ronald Reagan Carrier Strike Group were within range. But what's even stranger is that Hawaii is totally missing from the official U.S. Naval Institute map. Nearly the size of an aircraft carrier, the USS America, LHA-6, is capable of carrying dozens of helicopters, MV-22 Ospreys, and F-35 Joint Strike Fighter aircraft, along with more than 1,700 Marines and their equipment. Amphibious ships are specifically designed to operate relatively close to the shore, using landing craft in support of amphibious operations ashore. It often forward deploys with the Ronald Reagan Carrier Strike Group, providing ordnance, critical logistical, and medevac support.
We have two options on the table right now. Electrical poles sparked the fire. Or it was all a war game, demonstrating technology from Lockheed Martin. Now, you guys, it's up to you what you want to believe. Been to Maui, I've spoken to so many people. Half the population believes they were attacked. The other half believe it was due to just not taking care of the land.
Wildfire has now expanded across the outer regions of Vina del Mar and Valparaiso, the two coastal cities popular with tourists. The Chilean National Disaster Service, CENAPRED, stated that the wildfire has destroyed about 64,000 acres of land and that there are still 40 active fires in the country. The wildfire is said to be Chile's worst national disaster after the 2010 earthquake, which claimed the lives of about 500 people.
I'm fucking crazy. As you can see, former Chilean President Sebastián Pinera dies in a helicopter crash at 74 just yesterday. But before we go any further, I want everybody to be aware of the situation at hand and why we're talking about Chile. This just so happens to be what majority of southern Chile looks like at this very moment, as a series of deadly wildfires that killed over 112 people ravaged through the areas of southern Chile. Now stay with me, okay, because this is the primary reason of why we're speaking about Chile and the wildfires. As you can see, thousands of homes were destroyed in flames, which swept through the hilly settlements around the resort town of Viña del Mar starting Friday, propelled by high winds. A regional state of emergency was declared and a nighttime curfew imposed. Well, ironically, the same energy institutions that just so happen to be involved with rebuilding Maui in quotations just so happen to have their 4th LA Conference on Sustainable Development of Energy, Water, and Environment Systems just on the 14th to the 17th of January 2024. And where? Ironically, if you look into as to why they're interested in Viña del Mar, you might see here Viña del Mar is considered Chile's top city to live in, work in, and visit, and ranks second behind only Santiago for education, and then a whole bunch of other pros for the area as well. And that doesn't seem to be the only article that seems to be talking about things like that. Now, what's ironic is the company named Hitachi just so happened to have a website just a couple months ago that just so happened to be deleted that clearly stated that Maui was supposed to be the first integrated SMART island. So that's pretty interesting, and the reason why it's so damn interesting is because of this. Oh wow, you mean the SMART City Business Chile headquarters are at where? Huh. And then if you just so happen to go to their summit website, you might find things like this. And has anybody gained notice as to how many lithium mines are being built in southern Chile? I'm not laying claim to anything officially being true, but I hope I can at least connect the puzzle pieces for you a little bit easier. In the last episode, I just so happened to speak about a certain satellite that just so happened to be above Maui the day of the wildfires. Now, once again, not laying claim to anything officially being true, but the satellite just so happened to be owned by a company named CERN. CERN, a couple years ago, just so happened to declare that they discovered the 5th force of nature, which just so happens to be something called cosmic energy. And the cosmic energy may or may not be collected via satellite. And when it is, it just so happens to be able to produce a specific beam, but you can't actually say that word openly here on TikTok. But it's ironic because I spoke about in the last video as well that there has officially been a Space Force unit created just last year, right? That is designated to defending the nation against adversary satellites that are capable of producing ground-based what? Yeah, once again, I can't use that word, but gosh, that really makes you think, huh?
I do want to point out something. I've been looking into EVs, right? Electrical vehicles and their batteries. What I'm finding out are the batteries burn really, really hot, like way, way hotter than a traditional vehicle. I'm also realizing that they have trouble putting them out, and they can reignite hours after they have been properly, thoroughly put out. So that is a concern, because what I found was, ready for this? Maui is America's most densely populated city when it comes to EVs. In 2015, there were over 600 on that island. So now in 2023, I'm just going to assume there were 700 or 800 of them. in these neighborhoods in Lahaina and upcountry. And I'm just curious, could these have helped the fire be so big, so hot? Just an idea. It's just a theory.
And so our research is very forward thinking. And so from that, then we are also researching on which of those methods for suppression is going to be the best. Given that, we're still learning. And so this is not unlike other things that we've done in the past, whether it is with hazardous materials and understanding what kind of suppression material to use on which type of chemical fire, whether it is in an EMS arena, for example, what is the protocol that is best for certain symptoms or what we're seeing in the field. So this type of learning in the first response arena is not unlike what we've done in the past. We, as I said, are all hazards. We are there. We are innovative. And this is across the board for firefighters and paramedics across our nation. We are there. We're going to show up. We're going to perform. And we're going to put our basic skills into play and learn as we go. And so this is the state right now. We will move forward, and this will continue to improve, just as we've done with other innovations in the past.
And when you talk about research, data is part of that research. Right now, anecdotally, the feeling is that EV fires, lithium-ion battery fires, are relatively rare. They are spiking in certain areas, like you mentioned in New York, for example. How do we collect the data to get a sense of how big of a problem this is becoming? And as we move into the EV future, we imagine this will become a bigger problem on the roads in the United States.
Self-help, Operation Blue Roof, and the FEMA Self-Help Program, while similar, use two different materials. Both programs help reduce further rain damage to homes and provide temporary protection for the roofs of residential structures damaged during severe weather. The sheeting for Operation Blue Roof are installed by a contractor, overseen by the Corps of Engineers according to certain specifications. The material is a rolled polyurethane sheeting with fiber reinforcement. It's 10 millimeters thick and measures 20 feet by 100 feet. It's used for major impacts to roofs. The sheeting is 100% waterproof. It is also tear resistant, UV resistant, and fire retardant.
As you can see in this quick video, you're going to see photos from around the world with all the new blue roofs. Guys, I don't know. When China's doing it, maybe if they're doing this to their cities, to protect their cities, then who's the ones actually burning the world down?